Well, I'm going to try this one more time. I looked around on YouTube, tried to figure out how to get this thing off. I stripped this thread, so I took it into the lathe and cut it down and redid it. I put this setup I got back here on it. I've got about as much torque I can get on there without stripping it. And Bob Morley had a real nice adapter and everything. It was about 1/2 inch thick, and he put this on with an impact till it wouldn't go anymore, and then he hit it, but he had a huge hammer, and that's what I got now, is a huge hammer, so I can probably hit it one-handed. Let's see if this does any good. Vmax is kind of in a way for a good swing. Not moving a lick. It should just fly off. Well, I'll try to keep doing the same. Put torque on it and then whack it with this big hammer, and hopefully that'll come loose. Well, there we go. Whoa, that's still pretty hot. I took a big tip here and heated this up to where it was pretty hot. Still too hot to touch. And cranked it a little more and gave it a whack. This shaft should look perfect, but I can see some. Oh, yeah, the shaft's still hot too. It don't look real good, but I think that's probably what the trouble was. It perhaps wasn't machined exactly right, but I didn't lose all my one-way clutch stuff. It's all there, and I'll just take the best one of these two parts, and that's what I'll use. But anyway, got it apart after I wasted all the time putting the cover back on. I was going to give up on it, but I'm glad that I kept going and did get it apart. Okay, I broke this one loose. You can see my setup. I just got a big breaker bar shoved through the motor mounts. I got a big crescent here holding this bolt, and I just used a ratchet with an extension to get this bolt here loose. Should be an oil wiper in there. Get this junk out of my way. 2-foot long breaker bar, that's a good one. I haven't never even used it. Still got the plastic in it. Anyway, this little bolt and comes out of here, and hopefully the oil wiper, yep, come out with the bolt. So now I go to my setup that I had here to pull the flywheel off of the other one. I'll get that set up. Well, first thing I did was turn me some nice fat beefy washers out there in the lathe and assemble this whole thing back together. It all looks pretty square. Everything on center. Now I'll just do the same deal. I don't remember exactly what I had in there to lock the crank before. I think it was just something like this, pressing down into the ground. I can probably figure out some way of getting a board or something under that, and then a big breaker bar on this thing, and give it a good tighten. Maybe we should take a good hit with this. This is my little hammer. It's probably only 1 pound, 2 pounds. This is an 8 pound, 4 pounds. Sorry. So anyway, I got enough stuff here to give it a good hit. I'm gonna go ahead and set it up and see what I can get done on getting this new, or this late model flywheel off of here. Well, real luck with this. Now I'm just heating it up. I'll turn it over a few times and burn a little oil off, but anyway, that was the trick on the last one. You get it plenty hot. I torqued it as much as I could. I'm afraid I'm going to strip that pulley again. I've done that. I just have to put as much torque as I can on it. Get it hot. The idea is to try to get this where the oil's smoking on the metal. I don't know what temperature that is, but pretty hot, and then whack it before all of the heat gets into the crank and everything. This is just a butane torque, so we don't really get that hot. It's got a pretty big flame. Anyway, it worked on the other motor. I'm just going to try it on this one again. I don't know, I think that's probably pretty hot. Still, you don't see the oil smoking on it, so I'll just heat it a little more. This don't work. I may have to do something else, but this one should be easier to take off than the last one. Trick is to get it hot enough to expand it where it will come off that shaft. I think that's probably enough. Alright, now I'll throw a little more torquey poo on it. I'll put my wrench back on here. I'm trying to go fast here. There we go. Yeah. I got another 1/8 of a turn or something. Well, hopefully this will do it. Nope. Nope. Nope again. I just have to keep working on this thing. Try to go fast here with both hands while it's hot. Alright, I went and bought another one of these. This one here I had bored out all of the threads were gone in it. So this way I've got complete threads from the nut all the way to here. So I got 2 inches of thread. That's a little tight right now, but I'm sure it won't strip. And I'll put on my fancy extension here. I've also got it blocked, so I'm pushing straight down on it. Yeah, it's turning good. See, I got a little flex in there. It's probably the board and everything. So anyway, I'm going to use both hands and put some pressure on it, and we'll see what happens. Don't know how much pressure that was. Just about all of my weight. How about that? Right on my toe too. Yeah, Bob Marley says to put a wire tie through it, keep you from losing all your parts. So I got some springs and shit kicked out of here. That's the one that I'm going to use anyway, but I'll inspect this all for the whichever is the best one, and go on from there. Anyway, there's that whole nightmare off of there. This shaft looks in much better shape. I'm sure the starter worked okay on the old flywheel, but I'm going to inspect it anyway and put the best of whatever I got in it. I cleaned it all up real good. I don't see any wear in this one at all. Anyway, I'm using just some white lithium grease. I'm going to put it all over this stuff. Stick it back in. That's mostly just to kind of hold everything in place. And anyway, this is definitely not a one-handed job. Well, there it is. End of a 2-day project. Looks like I've got some metal in there I need to kind of get out. But it's on. I bolted it up and slid right on. The starter clutch, everything works good. I put it to 100 foot-pounds. The book calls for 96, but it's plenty tight enough. Everything looks good. I want to try to get a little bit more of this metal out of the holes in the flywheel if I can, and I'll be ready just to bolt this up for the last time. Hopefully it's the last time, and just for kicks I'm gonna put a little more carburetor cleaner in it and see if it'll fire. I think it will. Probably sound a lot better than it did. Well, there it is, all back together with the right parts this time. Bolted down, torqued up. Where's my cleaner? I'm just gonna give them a little hit. Should be able to fire it right up. Oh yeah. And just see how the starter works. Cranks it over real nice. That got the plugs in it too. So motor's finished, timing's correct. I'll throw these parts back together for this motor. I'm going to sell it. Now all I got to do is I think I got a little oil dripping here. Obviously the pumps all work. Let me get some pans under it. I really don't like that oil dripping out of there. Not so much that I'm losing oil, but I can see dirt in it. So I think I'm going to put about 1 quart of oil in this thing when I start it, and fire it up, get it a little bit warm, and dump that oil out, and then finish filling it with good oil. I'll leave the filter alone. That's a brand new filter. Well, this nut here's got a couple threads missing on it. These old nuts here are pretty bad. A lot of rust in them. And I ordered some new manifolds. Yeah, these are the new ones. They look real good. The ones that were on here were really rusty and looked terrible. So I'm going to stick these on. I found out that the little clamp goes on the bottom. So this guy, yeah, it looks like there's a broken bolt in there. I'll be damned. This one looks alright. I wonder if they're interchangeable. Well, looks like this is the right side. So I'm just gonna, I've got all new gaskets and stuff for it, but I'm gonna put just a little bit of muffler seal in there and bolt it up, and that should hold that good enough. And I don't know about that other one over there. It might not be, bolts broke in it. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do, is put on this exhaust manifold, and then I can start working on the exhaust pipes and stuff. Here's another little step in the process. This is a good key. If you watch the earlier videos, the gas tank I had to drill open, the cover over there, and this is the only key that worked. So I found these guys on eBay, and I got a set of locks here. This is for the side cover. I got a new gas tank lid. So what I did, there's, once you get this all stripped off, there's 2 bolts. There's one right here in the bottom. There's one up here on the frame. When you get this thing in, make sure all your wires are routed right. You don't pinch anything. I've still got the V-boost assembly is not bolted down yet or anything. And your cover goes on it right like this, and then there's a screw that holds the cover on. So anyway, I got these whole ignition system, 2 keys, and also even got the fork lock up here, a full set of locks for 75 bucks. So I was pretty happy about that. Usually they just want to sell you you know, the gas cap, the ignition, and the side lock, and they want 100, 115, 20 bucks. So anyway, I'll just make this little video of putting these locks in. That's how you do the top one there. Here's a little mess that's the I guess seat and tank lock. I guess this is just a tank lock or tank cover. I managed to get it out. I had to chew it up pretty good there in order to unlock it and even get the tank off. So I'm just going to replace this. Here's the new one. Looks like this little rubber thing is a cover or something. Maybe I can save that. Yeah, it's coming off. So I'll just figure out a way of getting that little hook around that bracket. I might have to just pull that pin out there. We'll see what I got to do to hook that up. Well, this whole bracket, fuel pump, and everything just pulled up out of the way. Still don't know if it's going to do any good in getting that thing out of there. Yeah, it just fell right out. So I'll just make sure that I got the other one and I get the hook pointed the same way. I'll just set it up there and you can see where it goes through that hole. And that should fix this lock. Okay, the lock has to hook in on this side. I just got the tank and everything out of the way. And this lock set goes up here and sets on these two bolts right here. And then of course you got some nuts that go on it, and the bracket gets mounted up wherever it goes. So anyway, that's a kind of a, you might be able to do it easier, but I kind of doubt it. Looks like the best way is just pull that tank out of the bracket, get the bracket off, rehook it. Harder to do this one than it was the frame. Of course, the tank won't be any trouble at all. It's just a cap. And I've got this this is a fork lock. I haven't even opened that one up. To be honest with you, I don't have a clue on how to start taking it apart. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll look at the new lock, see what's holding it in. It wouldn't really want to be anything out here. I would assume that any kind of locking stuff would be inside that fork tube. I don't know. Maybe I won't do anything with that right now, just save it. But anyway, here's the two main locks: ignition lock, this one, and of course the tank lock is just a cap. Okay, tank cover went on and opens up the lock, so I'm all good there. This is part of my next batch of stuff. I got a couple more dents and work on this. Got my aluminum cleaned up pretty good here. Still a mess, but I'm trying to get all this greasy crap done. I painted this. It was messed up a little. The inside is supposed to be black. I got this paint here. I was going to try to paint the drive shaft with, but it was just a little too glossy for me, so I squirted this thing. This inside part here has got to be black, so I'm just trying to see how it works. And I sprayed this thing the same. That paint stripper really messed it up, chewed up the plastic and everything. But anyway, that's supposed to be acrylic enamel, interior, exterior. Of course, that's no good for anything. I just wanted to see what it was going to look like. Silver. Of course, the instruments are all messed up there. But yeah, that's what it'll look like. I don't really particularly like the looks of that, because the tank will be gold. So anyway, I just wanted to start working on this, and so you can see where my paint problems are. I'll sand it again with some 220 or something and use my good super primer on it, and then whatever I put on here, it'll stay. I think I'll just use gold, because that'll make this whole section here, including the scoops, gold. And the inside of this thing is supposed to be silver. I'll try to clear that up, clean it up, see what I can get out of that. Anyway, moving along. Well, here's a pretty good screw up that deserves mentioning. In my rush to get things done, didn't put any breather hoses on it, so of course you can't get to them. In fact, here's some tape still on the original motor breather hose, so there's no way you can get on there and try to put the clamps on. I already tried. So anyway, put your hoses in before you put on your manifolds. Look like I got a rubber I'll have to put back in that valve. Anyway, put my hoses on, bolt it up again. Well, got the exhaust pipes on good. All bolted down. I'm reasonably certain I have no leaks. Just find out. Fine. Moving along. Gotta clean it of the dirt and oil and stuff. Shouldn't have any exhaust leaks this time. I got everything in real good. All the bolts was easy. Everything straight. Press on. Final note. It's like my roses are going nuts, and so are the weeds. But anyway, a final note on this thing. It turned out the different oil filter in that front cross member there won't fit. It's hitting the oil filter. It's hitting it right on the top edge there, so I'm just going to take it loose and just pound that oil filter down with a hammer so it'll clear good, and then I'll just keep my eye open for the late model cross member that works right with that oil filter. And that had a couple gouges. I don't know, it looked like they might have drug it or something a little bit whenever they took it out, or I don't know what happened, but I painted that up. And mufflers are in really good. Everything, all the bolts went in real tight. I filled everything with cement. I pulled this top part apart. The instrument cluster, you can see a lot of dirt and shit. I don't want to blow anything out of there yet until I cover up my carburetors. I got it over there ready to strip. But anyway, here's a Just another point there to the putting the late model motor in the early frame is that when it goes to a different oil filter, you have to have a different cross member.